Today we're going to look at examples of Greek art in order to help viewers differentiate between subtle stylistic characteristics. First, we'll examine a vase from the geometric style, located in the Louvre, whose characteristics include bold geometric patterns. Note the dot inside the diamond pattern near the lip, and the early Greek hex pattern between the handles. Also note the stylized horses and figures on circles that represent men in chariots being pulled by horses. Next, we'll look at a kouros from the archaic style. Characteristics include stylized braided hair, influenced by the ancient Near East, and attached hands. The archaic Greeks weren't sure of their sculpting prowess yet, and therefore didn't cut away the material between the hand and body in order to make the work more stable. Other characteristics include lightly carved indications of anatomy, like the kneecaps and the belly button, and the famous archaic smile. It's a somewhat awkward smile, as the cheeks are pulled back, but the lips are closed and no teeth are showing. Whenever you see that smile, the work is the archaic style. Next, we'll study a carved relief panel from the classic period located in the Louvre. Characteristics include the contrapposto pose, wet drapery clothing, and muscular posed bodies. In this panel, you see all of those characteristics. The most obvious is the wet drapery clothing, so called because the clothing drapes and outlines the body almost as though it were wet. Note the leg of the center figure and how the garment is almost sheer. Also note his pose. The contrapposto pose is a weight shifted to one leg stance, and the figure clearly stands on his left leg with the other knee bent. Muscles are now more realistic and not just drawn in. Viewers can see biceps on the arms of the males, and all of the figures are posed or arranged in pleasant composition, if not very realistically. Our last two images date from the Hellenistic period. Characteristics include those from the classic period, but also include the S-pose and highly emotional scenes. This image is the Venus de Milo in the Louvre, and she typifies the S-pose. Note how her right shoulder leans to the right, her waist leans to her left, and her hips lean to her right. That's the so-called S-pose, and differs from the straight torso, but weight on one foot of the contrapposto pose. A subtle difference, but one nonetheless. Our final image is the Nike of Samothrace, also located in the Louvre. The goddess of victory stands on the prow of a ship and overlooked a sanctuary on the island of Samothrace. It falls into the highly emotional scene characteristic of the Hellenistic period due to its theatrical appearance. The size of the figure, the body thrust forward, and wings spanning backward make for a very dramatic work. This differs from the composed poses of the classic period. Thanks for joining me on this look at the styles of Greek art.